We've seen hunters rise and fall. We've witnessed the birth of legends, like the Shadow Monarch himself, Sung Jin-woo, whose journey is inextricably linked to these mysterious portals. But have you ever stopped to truly ask, what are the gates? Where did they come from? What ancient secrets lie dormant within their swirling depths, waiting to be unleashed? Most accept them as a fact of life, a dangerous challenge to be overcome. But the truth is far more complex, far more ancient, and infinitely more terrifying than you can imagine. Today, we delve deep into the lore, peel back the layers of mystery, and uncover the hidden secrets of the solo leveling gates. Forget everything you think you know. The real story starts now. Let's rewind the clock. 10 years before Sung Jin-woo's awakening, the world changed forever. Imagine waking up one morning to find colossal, shimmering portals hanging in the sky, embedded in buildings, appearing in the middle of nowhere. Chaos, panic, governments scrambled, scientists were baffled. These weren't natural phenomena. They were breaches, gateways to other dimensions teeming with magic beasts, creatures straight out of nightmares. Simultaneously, a fraction of humanity awakened. They gained supernatural abilities, becoming the hunters, our first and only line of defense. The gates themselves weren't uniform. They varied in size, color, and most importantly, rank, from the relatively manageable E rank to the catastrophic S rank gates, capable of unleashing national-level threats. Hunters, too, were ranked, their power dictating which gates they dared to enter. The rules seemed simple at first. Enter the gate, defeat the dungeon boss within a time limit, usually a week, and the gate closes. Fail, and a dungeon break occurs, unleashing the monsters upon our world. But then came the anomalies, red gates, which locked hunters inside, cutting off escape or rescue. These weren't just random monster dens, they felt intentional, purposeful. This begs the question, who or what is pulling the strings? So, where did these reality-bending portals originate? The simplest explanation offered within the world is often vague, a connection to mana, the source of hunters' powers. But the true origins are far grander and more terrifying, tied to a cosmic war waged long before humanity even existed. One prevailing theory, rooted deep in the lore, suggests the gates aren't just portals to other places, but manifestations of immense power themselves. Before time as we know it, there was the absolute being, a being of unimaginable power who created two powerful races, the emissaries of God, later known as the rulers, angelic beings meant to protect the universe, and the sovereigns, later known as the monarchs, destructive beings designed for annihilation, ensuring balance through destruction. But the monarchs rebelled, craving endless war, and the rulers, desperate to end the eternal conflict, turned against their creator. This ancient, devastating war between the rulers and the monarchs ravaged countless dimensions. The rulers, seeking a way to finally end the bloodshed and protect vulnerable worlds like Earth, conceived a plan. They needed a way to prepare humanity, to imbue the world with the power necessary to defend itself when the monarchs inevitably arrived. Their solution? The gates. According to the deepest lore, the gates we see are, in fact, created by the rulers. They are controlled tears in reality, designed to slowly leak mana, the very essence of magical power, into the Earth's atmosphere. This gradual infusion of mana over years is what triggered the awakening phenomenon in humans, granting them the potential to become hunters. The gates weren't an invasion, they were an intervention, a desperate gamble by cosmic beings to give humanity a fighting chance. If the rulers created the gates, what was their precise purpose? It wasn't just about passively leaking mana. The gates serve multiple, interconnected functions, all designed to accelerate humanity's evolution into a force capable of resisting the monarchs. Firstly, they act as a crucible, a trial by fire. By forcing hunters to constantly battle magic beasts within the dungeons, the gates accelerate their growth, pushing them to unlock new abilities and increase their mana capacity far faster than natural evolution ever could. Secondly, the gates are a resource. The magic beasts within aren't just obstacles. They are sources of mana crystals and essence stones, vital components for crafting magical weapons, armor, and artifacts. They also provide experience, allowing hunters like Sung Jin-woo, blessed by the system, to level up and gain power directly. The gates, therefore, provide both the challenge and the means to overcome it. Thirdly, and perhaps most subtly, the gates act as a buffer and a warning system. By containing the majority of magic beasts within dungeons, they prevent Earth from being instantly overrun. They control the flow of conflict, allowing humanity time to adapt and grow stronger. The increasing frequency and rank of gates serve as a grim countdown, signaling the approaching climax of the ancient war. But why the specific patterns? Why do they appear randomly, yet sometimes cluster? While the rulers initiated the process, the exact mechanics remain partially shrouded. Some theories suggest the flow of mana itself influences gate formation, like currents in an ocean. Others whisper of the monarchs subtly influencing gate locations, probing Earth's defenses. The ruler's plan was vast, but perhaps not entirely foolproof. The sudden, simultaneous appearance across the globe speaks to a coordinated, massive release of power, a desperate measure to jumpstart humanity's defense before it was too late. We've established the gates are conduits, intentionally created to flood Earth with mana. But what is this energy really? In the world of solo leveling, mana is the fundamental force behind all supernatural phenomena. It's the fuel for hunter abilities, the lifeblood of magic beasts, and the very essence that differentiates the mundane from the magical. This energy flowing from the gates isn't raw, chaotic power. Well, not entirely. It seems to possess inherent properties, capable of being shaped and controlled by those with the aptitude, the awakened. It enhances physical capabilities, allows for the manipulation of elements, enables psychic phenomena, and even permits communication with spiritual or summoned beings. Think of it as a universal energy source, adaptable and potent, limited only by the user's rank, skill, and innate compatibility. The mana itself isn't uniform in its effects. While it empowers all hunters, individuals awaken with specific affinities or predispositions, leading to the different hunter classes: tankers, fighters, mages, assassins, rangers, healers. For someone like Sung Jinwoo, granted the unique player's status by the system, itself a tool created by the architect using the ruler's power, mana translates directly into quantifiable experience points and stat progression, a unique interaction with this fundamental energy. And it's not just humans who utilize this power. The magic beasts residing within the gates are beings literally composed of or sustained by mana. Their strength, abilities, and even their forms are dictated by the concentration and nature of the mana within their home dimension or gate. Defeating them releases this mana, which can be absorbed by hunters or harvested in the form of mana crystals and essence stones, concentrated forms of this potent energy. The constant influx of mana via the gates hasn't just created hunters and monsters. It has fundamentally reshaped human civilization over the past decade. Economies have transformed, with hunter guilds becoming powerful corporations and mana crystals forming the basis of new industries. Technology has merged with magic, creating powerful artifacts and enhancing daily life for some, while others are left behind. This power has brought prosperity and protection, but also immense danger and societal upheaval. The gap between the awakened and the non-awakened has created new social strata. The constant threat of dungeon breaks looms over cities. The very presence of mana has warped environments near high-rank gates, and the psychological toll on hunters facing death daily is immeasurable. The power from the gates is a double-edged sword, humanity's salvation and a constant source of peril. And the influence of this power is most dramatically seen in individuals like Sung Jinwoo. As he absorbed more power, cleared more dungeons, and interacted more deeply with the system, the ultimate mana manipulation tool, his own influence on the world grew exponentially. His mana signature became so vast it could terrify other S-ranks. His abilities warped the battlefield, and his very existence began to shift the balance of power not just on Earth, but in the cosmic war he was unknowingly drafted into. The relationship between hunters and gates is symbiotic, yet fraught with danger. Hunters need the gates. They are the only source of the experience, mana crystals, and challenges required for them to grow stronger, earn a living, and fulfill their role as protectors. Guilds actively seek out gates, organizing raids, competing for resources, and building their power structures around controlling access to these dungeons. However, this reliance creates a perilous dependency. Hunters are constantly drawn towards danger. Their lives revolve around clearing gates, pushing their limits, often to the breaking point. The power they gain comes at the cost of constant risk. A single mistake, a misjudged gate rank, or an unexpected variable within a dungeon can mean death. The gates provide the power, but they also dictate the terms of survival. Sung Jinhwa's connection is unique. While other hunters draw power from the gates, Jinwu, through the system, began to command the very essence of the beings within them, particularly after becoming the Shadow Monarch. The gates became less of a challenge and more of a resource farm, a place to bolster his true power, the power inherited from Ashbourne, the previous Shadow Monarch. His link transcended the typical hunter-gate relationship. He was becoming a force that could potentially control or even supersede the gates themselves, a fact tied directly to the ruler's ultimate endgame and the architect's design. While the rulers intended the gates as a tool for empowerment, such immense power rarely comes without hidden costs. The constant exposure to mana, the stress of battle, and the alien nature of the dimensions within the gates can take a toll. Is it possible for this power, or the entities wielding it, to corrupt? The series hints at the psychological strain, the way the life of a hunter changes a person. But could there be a more direct form of corruption? Consider the double dungeon incident that started Jinwu's journey. The statues within weren't mindless beasts. They obeyed rules, tested the hunters, and seemed almost intelligent, manipulative even. This dungeon was a construct of the system's architect, designed specifically to find a suitable vessel for Ashbourne's power. It demonstrates that the forces behind the gates can manipulate events, lay traps, and test individuals for their own purposes. While not outright corruption in the traditional sense, it shows a level of control and potential for manipulation inherent in the system the rulers created. Furthermore, the gates are portals. While designed by the rulers, could the monarchs, beings of immense power and darkness, exert their own influence through them? Could prolonged exposure to certain types of mana, or proximity to gates connected to monarch-controlled dimensions, subtly twist or corrupt individuals? The series focuses more on direct conflict, but the potential for insidious influence for the power source itself to carry a hidden taint remains a chilling possibility, especially given the nature of the beings the gates were meant to fight. Beyond the rank-and-file magic beasts, the gates house powerful entities, particularly the dungeon bosses. Some are merely powerful animals, but others display clear intelligence, strategy, and even personality. The Demon King Baron, encountered by Jinwu, was a monarch himself, albeit weakened. The statue of God was an incredibly powerful puppet of the architect. These encounters prove that the gates aren't just filled with mindless monsters. They can serve as prisons, pathways, or temporary domains for beings of significant power and potentially malevolent intent. The primary entities connected to the gates are, of course, their creators, the rulers, and their enemies, the monarchs. While the rulers use the gates to empower humanity, the monarchs see Earth as just another battlefield, a world ripe for conquest. Their influence is the ultimate hidden danger. They seek to enter Earth, not through controlled gates, but through massive, uncontrolled rifts to wage their final war. Figures like the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch actively probe Earth's defenses, sometimes using gates as entry points or testing grounds for their forces. These aren't just shadowy entities. They are cosmic destroyers, the apex predators of the universe. The gates, while meant as a defense, inadvertently act as beacons, drawing the attention of these godlike beings towards Earth. The true danger isn't just the monsters within a single gate, but the entities the gates were built to prepare humanity for. They are the endgame, the final threat lurking behind the veil of reality, waiting for their chance to emerge. What happens if the gates reach their full potential? This concept is double-edged. On one hand, the rulers intended for the gates to fully awaken humanity's potential, creating hunters strong enough to stand alongside them against the monarchs. The potential is the successful empowerment of Earth's defenders. We see glimpses of this in the national-level hunters and, ultimately, in Sung Jinwu, who surpasses all expectations. But there's a darker side to this potential. The gates are intrinsically linked to the war. Their increasing intensity signifies the escalating conflict. The full potential could also mean the arrival of the full might of the monarchs, drawn by the very power the gates cultivated. If the gates fulfill their purpose too, well, they might simply paint a larger target on Earth, accelerating the arrival of beings like Antares, the king of dragons, leading to a war that could shatter the planet regardless of how strong the hunters become. The ultimate consequence, the true potential realized, is shown in the series' controversial ending. Sung Jinwoo, having inherited the full power of the Shadow Monarch and defeated the other monarchs, uses the Cup of Reincarnation, a powerful artifact of the rulers, to turn back time. He returns to the past, before the gates appeared, and defeats the monarchs in their own dimension, preventing the gates from ever needing to manifest on Earth in the first place. In this final act, the gates' potential is paradoxically fulfilled by their complete erasure. Their purpose was to prepare humanity for a war that Jinwoo ultimately prevents from ever reaching Earth's shores. The consequence is a world saved, but one ignorant of the sacrifices made, with only Jinwoo remembering the era of gates, hunters, and the cosmic conflict that raged just beyond the veil. The gates were a means to an end, a temporary, dangerous measure born of desperation, ultimately erased once their purpose was served, or rather, circumvented. So, the gates of solo leveling. Far from being simple monster portals, they were intricate tools of cosmic intervention, born from an ancient war, created by the rulers to leak mana, awaken hunters, and prepare humanity for the inevitable arrival of the monarchs. They were crucibles, resources, warnings, and ultimately, conduits for a conflict that spanned dimensions. Their origins lie not in random chance, but in deliberate design. Their power reshaped our world, creating heroes and horrors. Their dangers were immense, not just from the beasts within, but from the godlike entities they were tied to. And their ultimate potential was realized not through escalation, but through erasure, thanks to the sacrifice and power of the Shadow Monarch. The gates may be gone in the final timeline, but their legacy remains etched in the memory of one man. And in the story we've explored today, what other secrets does the world of solo leveling hold? Let us know your theories in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more explorations into your favorite manhwa, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the lore. Until next time, keep leveling up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you get more exciting content.